This is NOScast here, episode 20 something. We're going on a win here because why the fuck not? This is NOScast. We just have I have shit to talk about. Itchy's kind of I spared him on it. So, I spared this on him, so he's probably like, what the fuck's going on? So, how are you doing, Itchy?
I'm doing.
You
Still
doing
got my
good?
left foot, still got my right, got my left hand, my right hand. That's
Okay.
about all I can ask for.
Okay, alrighty. So, okay, that's cool. I'm doing alright. You know, I have work in a couple of hours, so, but I still got plenty of time to do this shit, so it's still daylight where I'm at. Let's go with that. It's still daylight, so I got plenty of time. So,
Right.
it's all good and dandy. So, did you play? We're gonna just get into this shit. Did you play Modern Warfare 3, the new one,
Nope.
2023? You haven't played it at all.
Nope. Not at all.
Okay, well,
Not even
did
a
you
bit.
even watch reviews on it? Did you watch any gameplay videos on it? Anything?
I haven't like yes and no. Yes, as in like I've seen stuff on it, but I haven't really like watched it. Like I didn't even watch a whole video.
Okay. The campaign is out, as you know. The campaign is out. I haven't
Oh,
played
I
it
didn't
yet.
know.
As we're making this video, I haven't played a single bit of it at all. I haven't touched it. I would thought when the campaign would have came out, I'll been more interested in playing it, and then I'm just like, I really haven't been eager to wanting to play it. I don't know, but I don't know. That's just what's happened to me, and just in general. Like I don't have the eager. I really have the eager to play X Defiant. Like I really want to play X Defiant, but it's not out. That's the only game I have the eager to play. Like even watching beta of the finals, that one that Doctor Disrespect has been playing, I have not had the eager to really go out and just play it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But off
Right.
topic a little bit. From what I've heard, Monfort 3 campaign is like alright. It's kind of like they rushed it,
From
which
what
is
you've seen?
from what I've seen.
Okay.
From what I've heard from reviews, from what I've seen, is it's been rushed. The it's kind of the what I've been told. I haven't seen the ending. All I've heard about was the ending, and I've heard the ending is just like alright. Like they kind of like missed the milestone there. You know what I'm
They
saying?
missed the mark.
Missed a
I got
mark.
you.
Mark. They missed a mark there, which I've always was told. You know, Call of Duty campaigns, and I know this myself, are like masterpieces. Okay, they're not really alright. They're really all been just like a masterpiece in it in per se. The people said that Modern 3's campaign is like alright. It's kind of like how they say about Battlefield's campaigns, how they're just like alright. That's kind of like
Okay.
this one.
So they're saying it's lackluster.
It's
It's not.
lackluster.
It doesn't stand up.
Yeah, which they go some new objectives with doing the campaign. You know how campaigns have really like just hold your hand in through everything. We'll call these campaign actually. This one's kind of like a free roam aspect where you're able to pick and choose what playstyle you want to go as you if you want to go loud, you want to go silent, you want to go tactical. Like
They've kind of done that before, but like I don't know, maybe not to the same extent. Like they've done where like you can go in with your own class, like
mm,
what Black Ops 2,
was it Black Ops 2 or
Black
was it
Ops
Black Ops
Black
3?
Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2 you had multiple endings based on what you did,
Yeah.
but it was still like on the rails, like you're going along the same path. I think there was maybe like one part where you could split off two directions. I don't know. I know you could change the ending in Black Ops 2 though,
Mhm.
depending on how you played it.
Well,
And I know Black Ops 3, yeah, you could pick your weapon.
see, but like even with my bad. Even with Black Ops 3, you can. It doesn't really matter if you go loud or go silent. Like it's just you just go and do it. Like I think more for 3, there's more 2023, there's more extent to that, I believe. As in picking your guns, picking your loadout, what you want to do, type aspect. I don't think with Black Ops 3, I don't think that really matters. I believe. I
Maybe,
think. I
yeah.
think so. I don't know. Like they did
I
have
mean,
like the zombie
go
aspect.
back and play it again. Yeah, go back and play it again, and you'll figure out. But because you say you believe, but like, yeah,
I
um,
played the Black Ops 3 campaign. I just don't really remember how it really went
yeah,
down.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to really have a fair comparison, go play it again.
Mhm.
And to have a truly fair comparison, once you actually play Modern Warfare 3,
Mhm.
um, you'll have a better comparison.
Now,
But like, you should do them in recent proximity to each other because it's been years since I played the Black Ops 3 campaign,
yeah.
and I'm sure,
Now,
yeah,
the thing that Black Ops 3 did that I still like to this day is how they redid the campaign to where it was just zombies. You basically went through the whole
yeah,
campaign again, but
because
zombie wise.
like that's kind of like how what like when you beat World at War, that's when zombies was introduced to you. You couldn't even play. I mean, until like way later, and they updated it to where you could just play zombies. But like, you couldn't play zombies until you beat the game.
Yeah, and Treyarch did another thing for Black Ops 3 in that kind of aspect and way, and I did like that, and they never did that again, which kind of sucked. They never
Right.
really did that again where if you beat Black
Black
Ops
Ops
3,
4, yeah.
Black Ops
Black Ops
4
4
didn't have
didn't
a
have a
campaign,
campaign.
no. But Cold War in that aspect, they didn't do that. There was a
Right.
campaign and they call it like that. Which I've even played Cold War's campaign. I haven't played Cold War's campaign. I haven't played Modern Warfare 2019's campaign. I haven't even done Vanguard's campaign. I haven't even done that one yet. Um, Modern Warfare 2's campaign I did play. It made me think of a lot about like Ghost Recon Wildlands in a way,
Right.
like the
I mean,
tactical aspect.
You should have played Modern Warfare 2019's campaign if you played Modern. Like, kind of fucks me up because like they're literally direct. Like their timelines is directly because just like the old Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, their timelines connect to each other.
Yeah, that is true. And all I did was really just watch videos on it and not played it, which they really hyped up the mom for 2019's campaign when it was like coming out. They really hyped it about it, like no Russian and the whole shit and whatnot. Like they really, I never fucking like. I just that
Well, they
was
didn't have no Russian. It's
no, they
like
didn't
to the
have it, but it
level,
was like the level of no Russian. Yeah,
right? Like for
and
with the killing like
yeah,
civilians and shit like that. Yeah.
yeah. My whole aspect of it was I was in that kind of stage where all I cared about was multiplayer. That's all I cared about playing. Like I used to be that person where I'll play the campaign first and then play multiplayer. No, when I didn't even play World War II's campaign either. I think I started and then never really finished it. I never, I kind of got away from campaign and just focused on multiplayer because that's when I was like playing multiplayer as hard as I could. Like I was for 10, 12 hours, 15 hours straight just playing campaign or playing multiplayer.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
I
That's
know.
wild as shit.
That was like that day or that was those day and age were from what was it like Modern Warfare 2019. I did play World War II hard too, but it was when Modern Warfare 2019 came out. I played the shit out of that from 2019 from uh Cold War to Vanguard to an extent. All I did was play multiplayer. That's all I did. I didn't do no campaign. I watched videos on it. Like I watched the storyline videos of it, other people playing, but I never played it myself.
Right.
So I know the story. I just never experienced it myself. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
But now, like, I'm not all about multiplayer anymore. Like, I do enjoy like the Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, like those campaigns. Like those are like masterpieces. I love those campaigns. But at the same time, I don't even play games like that no more. I just played games today, but like I go days without playing games. And
Right.
I don't know if that's because of PTSD of trying to go back and like trying to like go hard playing a game or something like that because I don't want to get sucked into it again. Or
What? Oh, you don't want. You're scared you're gonna fall back into your old ways.
yeah. And even at the same time, like I get bored at the house. I want to go outside, play some football, play some basketball. I
Right.
don't want to be in that. I try to not be out of the house as long as I can, but like I try to balance of being in the house and being outside. You know what I'm saying? I try to
Mhm.
balance all that because I get bored. Like I like watch a movie and I'm just getting bored. Like I'm like I've seen this movie a gazillion times. I know every fucking thing that happens in this movie. Like why am I watching this shit? Like it's kind of like
Right.
that aspect where I just get bored and like I know
I
like
mean, it's
this.
good you're getting out. Like, I mean, you should have been doing that all along. Doing like you shouldn't have been playing 15 hours a day. Anyway. Um, like yeah, it's good you're getting out. I mean, self-control is a big part of it, right?
Mhm.
Like the fact that you've gotten to the point where like you're more averse to playing it because of that is on you, to be honest, because of how you were handling it to begin with. But like, I mean, it's good that you are starting to go along that like idea, that mindset. Like, you don't necessarily have to completely drop it, but like, I mean, it shows growth. Like,
Well,
I'd say.
I haven't completely dropped playing video games because I put like hella money into it. So it's just like, well, fuck, like,
Well, that's the sunk cost fallacy. I mean,
like
I'm not. I mean, it's still like, yeah,
hella
that shouldn't be
money.
your reason. But
Well,
like,
no, it's not a total reason, but there's other reasons to it, of course. But it's just like I've just I've just haven't really want to just sit here and play video games for hours. I can if I really wanted to. Like I just sit here and play video games for hours. But who benefits any of that? Like unless I'm doing recordings, but like other than that, like I don't really
well,
benefit.
even just doing recordings, like, I mean, you're not really benefiting from the recordings unless you get,
Yeah,
return from it.
of course. And the return is views and some money or whatever. But other than that, like
You'd never even have reached any of that. Like,
I reach
there's
some
no
type.
gain.
Like on Instagram, I reach viewership to an extent.
I'm
But
not saying viewership. I'm saying like the money aspect.
oh
Like
yeah, money hasn't been.
you may have reached some viewership on some of your avenues. But like if you're like the way you were treating it, the way like the 15 hours a day type shit, like yeah, you had no matter how many amount of viewers, like that's kind of like a waste,
Well, yeah,
right? Like
but
I mean, unless the viewers translated into because like 15 hours a day, that's like most of your day.
yeah,
That's
that's all I did was I didn't have no license to an extent. I didn't have no job. Like I didn't have anything. All I had was gaming. Like I didn't want to go out there and go get a job at the moment of time and the whole shit. So it's just like I just sat and played video games. I sat in a room and
right,
fucking
right.
played
And
video games
it's
from
good that you moved away from that level of
and
what
like even if I
I
when
mean,
I
I'd say at
did
that level, that's probably game addiction. Like, that's not even like a pastime because that's all your time. Because 15 hours, right? I mean, I know maybe not literally 15 hours, but you've stated 15 hours. That's all. That's
that's
not
just a
just most of your day.
guess.
That's
That's
your
just
whole
a
day.
yeah, that's just a
Yeah,
guess. But at the
that's
same
literally a
time,
full
that's like
day.
my whole day. I will go days and days and days and days and like literally days, months without going outside sometimes. Maybe well, no, I would go outside, but like I wouldn't go outside a lot. I'll just sit there and play video games. That's all I would do is just sit there and play video games because I had nothing else better to do. So it's just like I didn't have a job or nothing. Even when I did have a job, it took me like a month to get back into like my gaming shit, like a month and a half. Because when I first got my Walmart job, I was tired all the damn time because I had to fix my sleep schedule. I had to get back in the routine of like working and whatnot, or get in the routine of working. And now that's been almost 3 years. and that was when Cold War
You're
was
used
out.
to it.
I'm used to it now, but that
Right.
was when Cold War was out, and I didn't play Cold for like a month and a half. I wouldn't even say a
Right.
month. Like, I didn't play Core for a minute. I'll go with that. I didn't play Core for a minute. I don't even know how long it was. And then once I got back into the routine of working, of getting used to it, I would sleep 8 hours a day and wake up and go play Cold War for 6 hours. From, 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock.
Mm.
That's 6 hours. So every day, and then when I'm off, I would probably play even more. But when I'm off, I would play for 6 hours. Cold War. And all we did was play zombies. With
Yeah, because that's because you were all you cared about. You were grinding so hard. Like we come back to this time and time again, but that whole like battle pass thing kind of fucking ruined it for you. Because
Mhm.
before that came out, yeah, I'd say you had a more healthy relationship with gaming. But then after all that, like your relationship with gaming was not healthy. Like you
Oh, it
would
was not
waste
how I would waste so much money. I would
so
waste
much time.
so much time. Like, it was kind of crazy if you really think about it. It was kind of crazy. Like how much time I wasted playing Core was easily like Modern Warfare. I would say is between Modern Warfare and Core is like my easiest like games I played the most out of
Mhm.
probably even Battlefield 4. I want to say too because Battlefield 4 I have some time into that shoot, but I don't think to the extent of Cold War or Modern Warfare 2019. Battlefield 4 actually to the extent of Modern Warfare 2019 and Battlefield 4 or Cold War, but and then Vanguard came out, and I played the shit out of Vanguard too. And then once Season 1 came out, I played it for 3 days. And then I was like, fuck this game. And I'll go back here and there and go and play it. But I never had the fucking way of just going back and playing it. And just going back to my old ways. Like Modern Warfare 2 when Modern Warfare 2 2021 or whatever the fuck when that shit came out. I kind of went back to my old ways, but then I stopped. You know,
Right.
I stopped. I didn't go back to my old ways. I kind of reeled myself back and said, I can't do this. I can't do this. So that goes in content also. And then Modern Warfare 3 beta came out, and I played that shit for what, like, the PlayStation part I played the whole time. And then the whole thing came out for Xbox and PC also. I played it for maybe 3 days. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. I can't do this. I played it for 3 days and said I'm done. I didn't play the last 2 days of the beta.
Right.
I didn't play the last 2 days. And that was me tiring myself out. Because it's when you put skill based matchmaking into that type of aspect, it's just like it's very tiring. Because you're just sweating, and I just don't have the energy to do that no more. Just sweat every game, all game. Like I don't have the energy for it anymore. Maybe for a little bit, but not the whole day.
Right. Right.
I don't have the energy for it anymore. Like that's why when X Defiance coming out and they have no skill based matchmaking in the casual play, that's like wonderful to me. That's like a godsend because like I can
Right. And there's
chill.
still odds, and the odds are not zero that you'll still run into matches full of sweats. But the odds are higher
Exactly.
that the odds are not zero, is what I'm
Well,
saying. So it's
yeah,
not impossible
it's
for you to
not
run into it.
impossible, but you know in your mind and you in what in that everyone that is around you or you're going up against even on your team is not you at the end of the day. Everyone has a different KD. No
Hmm.
one has the same KD because Mall for these betas like skill based matchmaking is like fucking to the roof. Like, it was crazy ass shit. Where everyone was
Right.
just like sweating, like literally, like I got to.
No matter what your base KD is, because it doesn't matter how good. Because like I guess their goal is, because if everybody in your lobby's got the same KD, then assumingly, on average, every single lobby, if it's truly skill based matchmaking, every single lobby has everybody close to the same KD, and their
Yeah,
goal is to get as many people as possible to a 1.0 KD.
yeah,
Because if you're having a high KD, then you're obviously above and they don't know where to. If your KD is higher than 1, then they don't know where to put you.
yeah. Which
'Cause
through many of
yeah,
from Mom for 2019 to like I don't even know. My KD has always been like a high KD, like one
right,
something. I
right.
don't
Like
even.
they want to keep you as close to 1 as possible if it's truly skill based. Because like the only way they can prove the skill based matchmaking is working is if the vast majority of all players have a 1.0 KD.
I believe the skill based matching was working to my
If the
extent.
vast, if the vast, there's no way for you to verify this
Well,
because they don't show the stats.
of course
But
not, but I.
and the fact that they don't show the stats is very sus because they used to show the stats.
Well, they show the stats of your KD and like.
No, what matters is because you can't compare. It doesn't matter what your KD is if you can't see everybody else's. Because the stat, like
Oh.
if you want to do the statistics of it,
Uh huh.
it like for you to prove that the matchmaking is working, is that the average of all players' KD is around 1. If there's no skill based matchmaking, then the odds are that there'll be the good players will have high KDs and the bad players will have low KDs. And if skill based matchmaking is working at an optimal rate, then the vast majority of players will be at a 1 KD. Whereas when there's no skill based matchmaking, then the spread will be more spread out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And since they don't show the stats, there's no way to prove it. Only like I'm sure they have the stats, but they're not sharing it. So like they can't prove that it's doing anything unless they share it.
Well, from what I know, the what the fuck? The skill place. The skill. No, because I'm on Amazon. I'm looking at some NASCAR shit, and then for some reason I said that. From what I know, the skill based matchmaking is compared to everyone
I'm
what you
sure it
play
does
like.
something. I'm sure it does something. Like it might not be as good as they want it to be, and it might be too good, like to where like oh everybody's got a 1.0 KD. This is weird because like back in the old days, like when they did show it, like you'd see quite a big spread, and then out of nowhere they just stopped showing it. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's because of probably a whole lot of shit. Why they probably stopped showing it because they're trying to be sneaky with it or whatever. Like.
Because they tweak it, they change it on the fly,
Yeah,
probably. Probably.
and
I mean, they never really fully admit that it's there, right?
of
But like
course because it's
they also
NDA.
have a patent on it. They also have a patent on it. And the patent is like, you know, the
Well, it's
patent is public. You can see the patent, even though like, because remember when they were trying to deny it,
uh
and they had a
well,
patent
it's
that was like,
NDA. Like everyone at Activision, as in Treyarch,
well,
Infinity War.
the implementation is NDA, but the fact that they have a patent on it isn't.
Well, that yeah, you're not wrong.
The
Definitely.
actual implementation, the code,
Mhm.
you can't disclose, but the fact that it exists is
Well,
available
couldn't
to
you
everybody.
figure out with the code then? Like, couldn't you actually figure it out with code or not? Is that still like, eh?
No, you'd have so you can't see the code. That's what's covered by their copyright, right?
Uh
You're not
huh.
allowed to see that code. You can reverse engineer it, but you'd have to have some sort of idea of how it works to
Mhm.
reverse engineer. And the reverse engineering isn't necessarily illegal because if you can prove that you never saw it, and you somehow produce something that does exactly the same thing without ever getting your hands on it, um, then there's no way for them to prove that you stole it.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, yeah, you could remake it, but like if you and the likelihood of it being the exact same is next to zero, but it's not zero, but it's next to zero.
Well, shit.
You can't just code. You can't just pull code. Like you could let's say you can decompile the game, right? Let's say you can do that. The
Okay.
game doesn't have the skill-based matchmaking in it. I'm sure the skill-based matchmaking is on the server side, on their side. It's not given to the client. So decompiling the game, and for two, decompiling the game won't show you the same code that they wrote. It'll show you the code that your computer understands. So like your computer, your decompiler will take that executable and like pull it back up to code, and that code will not look the same as how the person who programmed it, or the people that programmed it. It'll
Yeah.
look completely different.
Yeah.
It will
Look.
not be the same. It'll do the same thing. It'll define the same exact thing on the executable standard, but
Mm-hmm.
it won't be the same code.
So it's kind of like you just have to prove that you didn't steal their shit, basically. And that would be kind of hard to do, right?
Uh,
Or
well,
you
if they
didn't look
have a
at their
pro
code,
cover
or
look, if you didn't look at their code, which I mean, it would be easier to do that because if you didn't have an NDA signed, right,
uh
and
huh.
nobody on your team was signed their NDA, right, then it would be harder for them to prove that you looked at it to begin with. So if they can't prove that anybody on your team looked at it
Mm-hmm.
without, it would be easier to prove that you didn't look at it because of the NDA. And everybody, like, as long as everybody on your team remaking it or trying to reverse engineer it, because basically one method of reverse engineering, right, is
Yeah.
by stating all of the things that the thing that you're trying to emulate or redo does.
Yeah.
So like it does this, it does that, it does that, it does that. So you know what it does. You don't know how it works. So then from knowing what it does, you go from there and remake it. So just simply knowing what it does, you can reverse engineer it. And knowing what it does has no need to look at the code.
And if you can prove that with
It's
that,
easier to prove that than it's super easy to prove that.
and what if you like just showed everyone on the internet this is how they do their fucking Call of Duty shit, and it looks bad on Activision? Then what?
You can't do that because I'm not saying you can't do it because it's bad to do it. I'm saying like for you to say that's exactly what they did, because let's say you reverse engineer it, right? You know what it does, right? You have an
Mm-hmm.
idea of what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like rewriting it and then showing people that is like this is what they're doing. No, it's not saying that like is then they're gonna have to go and like look at them side by side and all that. It's not gonna work. Like it doesn't. It's not. You want it to like if you're reverse engineering something, you want it to be one to one,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have to go and prove that it's one to one, and then to prove that it's one to one, you actually have to look at it.
So you're just fucked either way.
Not if you publish it before you have to go prove that. Then they have to go prove it in litigation. And then while it's in litigation, you'll probably be under the NDA. So then for you to go publicly show people would then fuck you. You can be like, this is based on what, like, and to even know, because they say that it's in there? Do they say there's skill based matchmaking? Does Activision say there is?
Well, they're under NDA, so like they wanted to keep
They're
it a
not
secret.
under. Activision isn't under. They wrote the NDA.
Okay,
The
Activision's
people, the
never really
people
came out and said it.
Right. So they're not saying that it's in there. So everything is speculation, right? So it
But
would
it's in
be,
there. But it's in there. We know it's in
yeah,
there.
it's all speculation. So like if so based on that speculation, you can say everything that their skill-based matchmaking does, and you can
Mm.
reverse engineer it from that. But because they never said it was actually in there, right?
Mhm.
Um, because they never said it was actually in there, you can't go and say that that's what they're doing for sure. Because even if you reverse engineer it based on what everybody says is in there, because they never actually said it's in there, that would be, I forget the word, it'd be either like liable or something. It'd be something where you're saying something that you're saying that they said something that they never said.
Well, I think one of the coders, I might be wrong on this to be honest, but I think one of the coders came out and like said something who I don't think is under NDA anymore, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came out and said something that the code has been out since Black Ops 2.
Yeah, I'm. That's because that's when they started doing the um
And I forget
what the
when game was out. I don't know if it was Vanguard or Modern Warfare 2 2021, I think. Or I forget what game it was, but I know someone said that revert skill based matchmaking has been out since Black Ops 2. But it
yeah, and
doesn't
that's
make
when they
sense.
started doing the competitive play.
Yeah, but they said it was in regular matches also.
Right.
But that does, and people are like, but that doesn't make sense because when Christmas came around, you saw the Christmas noobs and shit. And how would you see Christmas news when all their
Well,
freaking
here's the thing, because from the speculation I've heard, right, is that their skill-based matchmaking system has variables that can be tweaked.
okay,
So depending on what those variables are set to, the strength of the skill-based matchmaking can change. So they can take the same skill-based matchmaking algorithm and put it into any of the games and put different variables in it or swap up the variables. And the strength of the skill-based matchmaking and how noticeable it is can be different just from changing those variables. Not changing all the code, just changing the variables,
no,
changing the
no,
value of the variables.
no. What is the variables in like code or whatever?
What are variables or
Yeah,
what are the variables that they're using?
yeah, well, both.
Both? Okay. So I'm going to start with the easier one to answer. Variables, let's say, are like a name for a piece of for a value for data is a
Okay,
named piece of data that can in that data, like let's say for instance, I'll give you a number like a weight, so an integer.
okay,
So you have an integer variable, let's say it's named x, and you set it equal to 5. So then you have your code that checks that value, and based on that value it'll do something, or it'll do it like a probability function, and it'll like from that it'll base what it does in its actual code based on that value. So
okay.
that's a variable right there. Or it could also be set from stuff. Like variables are used everywhere. Do I know what variables they're using? No.
No.
But I'd probably say what they might be using is possibly your kill death ratio. They're probably doing maybe even like how much you move around. Maybe even like what guns you're using most of the time, your accuracy. So those are possibilities. Do I know? No, I absolutely do not know. But the easiest ones to assume on the basic level is your kill death ratio. So your kills and your deaths.
Mhm. Well, and I know possibility that if you have like a blueprint or a skin, they will put that in content too. So other people that don't have skins or whatever, persuade people to get skins or something like that.
Right, and I heard they did that like way later when they started doing like doing more stuff with that way later, because I noticed in like what some of those when they started doing not the end game, the final kill, they started doing the play of the game.
Mhm.
Like I'd see somebody get like a basic ass kill, and like they didn't even get like a long like a lot of kills. Like I know I'd get like a quad feed, or I'd get like 6 kills like in a rapid chain. with a basic ass gun, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then you see somebody with the newest skin, and they get like 1 kill, and that gets the play of the game. How the fuck does the play of the game get picked, right?
And
But then you also see people with like really good shit with like not using skins. Like maybe it's a probability function where the weights are higher on people that use skins, but it's not a 0% chance that anybody will get it. Maybe they'll just put a probability wave function on everybody in the match. So like the actual play of the game doesn't really mean anything. It's just like, oh, if you get a good play, then your value will be higher. But everybody's got a non-zero chance of getting play of the game.
that
So
it
it could have
was
been
the play
anything.
of the game started when
2019, I think.
no, was it World War II? I thought it was World War II.
Maybe World War II. I remembered it most in like 2019.
I think it was COD World War II that was the start of it, and I think Black Ops 4 had it also. I believe Black Ops 4 had it also in a way, and then from I think they got rid of it in like Marvel 2 2022.
No, they still do play the game. They do in-game kills, and they also do play the game. Like I see it go back and forth in
That's
2022.
that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid.
Like depending on the game mode you're playing, I'll see it go back and forth.
I kind of like the play of the game, but at the same time, like they've kind of varied in a way. Like if you lost, you wouldn't get play of the game, but if you won, you have a most likely chance of getting play of the game.
Well, it's not even that because I see people on the losing team get play of the game sometimes.
Well, yeah, I think World War II was it didn't matter, and I think they changed it in
No,
Black
I'm
Ops.
saying in Modern Warfare. I'm saying in Modern Warfare 2, like the new, like 2022.
Uh huh.
Um, I see people on the losing team get play of the game sometimes.
Okay. Well, shit, I don't know. I could be just. I don't know, because I've always remember seeing now, like, people that just. Who win on the game get play of the
Mhm.
game. And then people that on the losing team, they could have gotten, like, a 9 kill streak in, like, 10 minutes. They wouldn't get shit or whatever. I don't know.
Right. From what it seems like is that everybody on the winning team has a higher chance of
Getting
getting play of the
play of the
game
game.
than anybody on the losing team. But the losing team also doesn't have a 0% chance of getting play of the game.
Yeah. I don't know. That could be it, but at the same time, I have no idea. At the same time. But, I don't know. That's kind of like. That's another thing that's iffy to me. At the same
Mhm.
time, like, I've kind of just. Yeah, the play of the game was cool. Like, getting the final kill was cool, but it was like, eh. But getting the play of the game was also even cooler because it was just like. You got to see yourself get play of the game. And I've done a lot of
Right.
recordings off of gameplay of the game and shit. Like, a lot of recordings off of that. Because, like, I would get to play the game and I'll record it and then post it to my shit or whatever. But, like, sometimes, like, I would get play of the game. Or I would get, like, a high kill thing. And I wouldn't get play of the game. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he gets something, like, something just as good as I did. But they're like, nah, we're going to give it to him instead. I'm like,
Well,
oh,
if it's
okay.
just as good, then it's probably fair odds. When it's like something like, oh, you get a 9 kill, and gets play of the game off of like a single kill, like that's when it's like, what the fuck? Like that's play of the game.
There's
But
been
when it's
many
like something
times that's
about just
happened, too.
yeah,
There's been many times where you'll see someone just get a kill. And we're just like, what the fuck? That's play of the game. But I got like a quad feed. And don't get a kill. Or don't get play of the game. I'm like, what the fuck? How did he get play of the game? He got 1 kill. I got a quad feed. You know what I'm saying? And there would be times where I would think I would get play of the kill. play the game, and someone that gets like, I don't know, a triple gets to play the game, and I got quad feed. I'm like, all right, whatever.
See, that's when I like go like, oh, this play of the game thing, because like when I first noticed that, it's like this play of the game thing don't mean shit. Like it don't mean shit. like,
What
like yeah,
you should get rewards for getting play of the game. To be honest.
I don't think so because I don't think it means anything. Like
Well,
I don't think it's
if they
selected.
redo it, if they redo the play of the game and actually means something, you should get rewards for it. Like you should have a what's it called? You should have a thing where
I still don't think so because let's say right, you get a quad, right? And you think your quad deserves play of the game. But then you're not the only person that gets a quad. So then let's say all the people that have like the best feeds or the best like shit, they get put onto a list. So then it's still randomly picking out of those people. Like they'd all have the same odds, but like it's randomly picking out of all those people. So like you're not the only person to get a quad feed, right? So
so
then
how would
still
you
like
want them to do it then?
I'd say fuck the play of the game.
Really?
I
You say
mean, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's cool that it's there if it doesn't mean anything, because I don't think statistically it's doing much. Like, I don't think
okay, but
it's picked.
so if you had a chance, how would you want them to do it then? Like, how would you want them to do play of the game? In a way, how would you want them to
Well,
do it to make it
I
better for the consumer?
I don't think it matters. Like the play of the game thing, because like they went from just having the final kill to having play of the game. Um, for like I'd say that they did it to make it fair, right? Because if you've noticed like that, you'll see play of the games of like people doing like the kills like much worse than like your best play of the game for
Mm.
you yourself. If you've noticed it that way, then it comes out to being just a solely fair. Just seems to be like just a fair thing. Everybody's got a random chance. Maybe people that have better, but like I said, maybe people that have better plays have a higher chance of getting it, but nobody's got a 0% chance of getting it. Um, the final kill. So I'd say it's probably more fair now than it was with just having the final kill, because with having the final kill, even then, like not necessarily the best player gets it. Just the player that gets the last kill of the game gets it, right?
But it could be
Um,
milliseconds though. It could be like because you could get the last play of the game and he can get the last play of the game, but you killed him He killed him millisecondly before or after you did. You know what I'm saying?
right. It's just the last kill. So it's like I feel like they just did the play of the game to 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 make it more fair to begin with, to get the final kill feed. If do I really care how they do it? Because like I would say like if I was to go off my first instinct and not go back and critically think about it, I would just say drop the play of the game, go back to the final kill. But in all honesty, like I don't really care. Like I think the play of the game is still something like that's there. Like the other games didn't like there might be more games that do it now, but like when they Call of Duty was doing it, other games weren't doing shit like that. So like I think like it's just pretty cool as it is. Like if you really want them to like do something where let's say like you said to like give the play of the game player a reward at the
Mm-hmm.
end,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would say maybe it should be statistically more fair to the players that have the best plays in the game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
So a quad
so
feed,
like
a
basically,
triple.
nobody worse than you, that worse than your best play of the game. Like in that game, your best play, nobody worse than you should be shown. But people as good as you or better can be shown. But I think the reason that they did it is maybe to give everybody a chance to be on that end screen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted them to like reward you for it, then statistically I'd say that that'd be the way to go. But then I think that defeats their purpose of it and giving everybody a chance to be on the screen. Because maybe there's players that are just so bad that they never get final kill, for instance, or they never get plays that are like they're never the best player on their team, right?
Yeah.
So they'll never be shown if it was to go on like what would make your thing make sense to like actually reward that specific player. I mean, there's also the chance because it's also like if it's completely random and it's given to randomly anybody on the game, like even the worst player, if it's like that completely random, then maybe, right, it's just like a fucking loot box. It's like a slot machine. Oh, boom, you got the play of the game, here's your reward. It would basically just be a slot machine. But if it was like statistically fair, like or yeah, statistically not statistically fair, but like statistically leaning towards all the players that have the best plays, like as good as you or better, if that's what you're saying.
Well, like to even
Then
even the odds. What about they give the top leaders like if you're like what top three because they usually do only top three. If you're in the top three slots of the podium, you have a chance to get the best play of the game aspect.
and maybe that's how it works. Maybe that's how it works. But like it don't seem like that because I haven't really paid much attention because like when they by the time what I like if you check your and a lot of game modes don't even show you like kill death ratios or anything like that. Like in some like in domination, like you see kills and you see captures,
Yeah.
right? But you
Hmm.
don't see any of the other statistics.
Until
Um,
after the game.
you don't see all the statistics.
Like when the game's over, they show your kills, your death, your captures,
They
your
show you. Okay, maybe I don't recall. For like all the players, maybe for yourself, but I don't recall for all the players. Um,
no,
for
they
deaths,
do it for all the players too, because in Modern Warfare
I don't
3,
recall. I yeah maybe. Um, I don't paid that much attention since they took it out because like if you're like oh I'm doing great because I'm not usually checking after the fact, and a lot of the times like the match sometimes the match will like start right away. Sometimes it takes a minute to start another match. You know because how fucked up their glitchy um menus are. You know
hmm
um it's I just don't pay attention to it and like I haven't really played it in what a month.
yeah.
So I don't know. But like I know in game you don't see all the statistics. And in game is when you care about it most because like, oh shit, my team's losing but I'm doing great. Who's the fucking worst? And
Well, they do that because they don't want people that come into the game see someone going 40-6 and they're just gonna leave it like fuck this. Like they see them get 40 kills, but they don't see how many deaths they have until after the whole entire shit happens. So the whole game's over with, and you're just seeing the
somebody going 40 somebody on the other team going 46 cuz like if
yeah.
you're on yeah,
If
like they see somebody 40 but like they don't see the 6. I feel like it was for the bullying aspect maybe. Um but then now they got that new bot to do the to the like the banning and stuff like that for people for
I feel
harassment
like
and
that's
cheaters and stuff.
stupid. That's all stupid. I feel like that's all stupid. You can't talk shit.
Basically, yeah, you can't talk
Like
shit.
I feel like to me I feel like that's dumb. I don't know about other people. Other people have their own opinions and that's okay. But I feel like that's just dumb. Like why when that's been in Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4, like it's gaming in general just before the end of time, like it's been in gaming. When gaming came out online and shit, you were able to talk shit. You know what I'm saying? But now, like, they're putting all these repercussions. Even Xbox and PlayStation put all these repercussions where you can't say shit on text messages. You have, you know what I'm saying? You can't, or you're gonna get it, suspended. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You have to be a goody two shoe. Like, I don't get that type of aspect of doing that to people. you know,
Mhm.
where it's a game. You're on a console. By the end of it, you're never probably gonna see them again. So why does it matter? You know what I'm saying?
Right, and in the old games, like you would see if as long as you stayed in the same lobby,
But
you would
yeah,
see them.
yeah. Well,
Now,
yeah. You're not wrong. When you if you stay in the lobby, you would see them. You know what I'm saying? But even that, like, to the extent once you get out of that lobby or get off the game, whatever, you're never probably gonna see them again. So it's just like, why does it really matter in that aspect of
right.
if you talk shit or not, like of bullying? Like I know bullying has been a big aspect even before that, but even like that was just like, why does that matter? Like, this is the internet. Why
And
does
that's
like?
is because the internet isn't just controlled by one country, right?
Of
It's an
course
internet,
not.
and like other countries have more strict laws on that type of stuff than the U.S. So if they want to be able to be friendly for those other countries, like sell in those other countries, then they have to, be precautious. Precautious, not just cautious. They have to you know, guess what's going to happen next based on what's happening now.
So be like, well, that's okay, but in that aspect, that's that country's fault. If their country wants to be goody two shoes, then let that country be goody two shoes. But
The
they're
game is sold in the United States.
huh?
The game isn't just sold here.
I know that it's
They
sold in Australia and the UK and
It's sold everywhere. So like if they want to keep making their money, as much money as they're making, right? They have to be precautious. If they reduce, like if they even just make separate versions for those different countries, and at a certain point, like they basically like restrict the number of players and they'd segregate the player base of the game, then the speed of which a game will die will be much faster.
yeah, you're not wrong in that aspect. Like, the game probably would die a whole lot faster, but it's kind of like, you know what's kind of like? It's kind of like when Rainbow Six Siege happened, and they were they were going to, was it Iran or some shit, or trying to sell their shit in Iran, and Iran didn't like what they were putting in their games, so they had to freaking redo some aspects of their games just to please another country. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was even art on a wall that Iran didn't like, and they had to redo their shit because of a country. I don't know if it was Iran. It could have even been China. Even it could have even been China. I'm not sure, but they had to redo some aspects because of that issue.
I know Australia's been on that type of boat before.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, to be honest. Not saying that you're lying, but I don't remember that aspect. I thought Australia was more outgoing than.
Very strict.
Really?
Yeah, they're very strict.
Like, China
Like
strict?
not China strict. China, China only not even that long ago, less than 10 years ago, is when they first allowed consoles in China.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have consoles.
So what did they have?
Everybody played PC or phone. Phone gaming is a lot bigger in Asia because not a lot of they don't they're not as big on consoles. I mean, obviously Japan is big on consoles, but yeah, China
So,
is
like,
like, oh yeah,
if you got a
phone.
console in China, you'd have to fucking secretly go get it or whatever the fuck.
At the before it was legal, yeah.
God damn, man. But I don't know, like, I feel like China is hella weird. China is just, they're a weird country that they don't allow, like, kind of like was it North Korea or South Korea that is weird too about
North
their
North Korea is the hermit country. China's like not as big of a hermit as North Korea, but they're like, because they got the Great Firewall of China.
Well, yeah, that's what China's famous for is the Great Wall of China. Like that's what they're.
Well, the Great Firewall. They're famous for the Great Wall, but the Great Firewall is like they don't even have the same social media and all that like that the rest of the world has and stuff. Like North Korea doesn't have like pretty much any like anything that's not like they have TV that's government like TV and all that. Like China's less restrictive than North Korea, but China's really restrictive. They're more restrictive than Australia, but Australia is pretty restrictive.
I feel like
Australia at least is the World Wide Web. China has the China Wide Web.
so you can't even look like in China. You only can look at what China wants you to see, basically.
Unless you break out of it, but if you get caught breaking out of it, you get in trouble, right?
Uh huh. Which I wouldn't think is even that hard to break out of it.
Yeah, but if you do it wrong, then it's easy for you to get caught.
Yeah.
Because all they got to do is check the network traffic. Because if it's all going to their centralized servers, um, like let's say every internet provider, they're still going through their internet provider, and if there's anything fishy going through it, then they're like, well, that's fishy, and they'll be able to catch you. So you got to like be very sneaky to break out of it. Like it's not that hard to do the basic thing to break out of it, right? But like
No.
to not get caught is the hard part.
You think you would get caught?
More likely than not. Like I'd say I'd probably try harder to figure out. Like I mean, if I was actually from there and stuff like that, I'd probably not even try. But like if I was to like be that daring, then maybe like I'd try harder to figure out how to not get caught. But like I doubt I would because if I don't know. I don't know. Most likely, yes. It's a lot easier to get caught than it is to not.
Well, aren't Asians? No offense, even though I'm Asian, technically, cause Filipino. But aren't Asians like hella smart technically? Like they're hella smart with that shit.
I mean that is a stereotype, and it's a good stereotype, not a negative. It's a positive stereotype, not a negative stereotype, but it's a stereotype nonetheless. An Asian can be just as stupid as the stupidest stupid person.
Of course, an Asian can be just as stupid, but like at
They're
this.
more like educationally they're more strict, so like the average Asian person is on the higher intellect side, right?
Uh huh.
But like yeah, like it doesn't necessarily mean all.
Yeah, you're not wrong. In a way, you're not wrong, but at the same time, it's kind of just like I don't know. It's like to be honest, I don't know how me personally I could live in a country that just restricts you from everything. Not saying that even fucking the United States doesn't restrict us from shit. I believe they restrict us from shit too, but they're more sneakier about their shit also.
Be sneaky about it because technically, like the restrictions would a lot of their restrictions that would let's say they're doing right, um, would possibly be like against our rights, right? So for them to like do it at all, they'd have to like be sly about their restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Most definitely Playboy, and I feel like that is. I feel like the reason why America hasn't gone down that route because of that aspect of our rights and the whole shit and the whole nine. Like, you know, other countries besides maybe even the Europe have the same rights as probably America too, don't they?
Not the same. Like there are a lot of rights that are provided in Europe that are not, and like China, for instance. And there might be some rights that some people in Europe has that even the U.S. people don't, like us. Um, and but like they're not the same rights. Like right, like we have the freedom of speech, right? They
Mm.
have like something similar to our freedom of speech, but it's not exactly the same, right? So like the whole thing with like I mean no Canada's even more restrictive. I don't know about Europe, but like like just simply it's not illegal. Like how some people like the gender politics thing, right? And somebody says
Mm-hmm.
they're a transgender person, right? And like it's not illegal for you to like misgender them in the United States. It's not illegal for you to misgender them. They might get pissed about it, but it's not illegal because you're not actually harming them at all. But like in Canada, for instance, it kind of is illegal.
See, that's gay. To me, like, that's gay. To
Right.
to be frowned upon because you misgendered them when in reality, like,
I
how the
mean,
fuck am I supposed to know?
on a social level, maybe it's frowned upon in the U.S., right? But it's not illegal. Being frowned upon and being illegal are two different things. I mean, obviously, doing something illegal is frowned upon, but being frowned upon doesn't necessarily make it illegal. Because like, there's things that are taboo, right? That are
Mm-hmm.
not illegal, and taboo is like things that are frowned upon. So something that's taboo, it's not illegal. You can do it, but if you get seen doing it, like you might be embarrassed. So like on that embarrassing thing, so something that's not necessarily illegal, but something that like publicly like or socially is embarrassing, it kind of feels illegal, even though it's not.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel like America has their rights. And when you go to other countries, like, damn, like, I would say Europe is more on the same shit as America, and so is Canada in a way. But even at
Mm.
the same time, when you go to these other places, it's kind of just like, damn, like, you kind of have it good in America. You know what I'm saying? America has made it where you're safe in a way, you know, with how you act and speak, and you can say fuck you to someone and call it a day. Like, you're not going to be frowned upon by saying,
Attack you, then they're the one at the wrong. Not
huh?
instead of, and then if they go and attack you, they're the one in the wrong, not you
Yeah.
for saying.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
like provoked them by saying "fuck you," but like that provocation, it was legal for you to say "fuck you" to them.
yeah, but
It's not.
like, but even like just saying fuck you to someone for no reason, even though they didn't do shit to you, like, you could say fuck you to someone and they can just shrug it off and call it a day. In other places, you say fuck you to someone, they're gonna look at you like, what the like. Even though in America they're gonna do that too, but you'll be more frowned upon in other countries by saying fuck you to someone than in America. You could say fuck you to someone and people just shrug it off. All right, he's a crazy person, and call it a day. Like, and I feel like in other countries they're more like, how come I get a fuck you? Like, what did I do to get a fuck you? Like, you know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
the U.S. or like I mean, that's
Yeah,
just on a per.
in the U.S. are like that, but some people are just like, they just shrug it off. Like, all right, whatever.
Right, right. Because like, and then like I said, like the person, because then like maybe I don't know what country, but maybe like if because like let's say you say "fuck you" to somebody, and then they like attack you after that, right? In the U.S., you saying "fuck you" because of your freedom of speech is like, oh, he just said "fuck you." That doesn't like he didn't do anything wrong, but you attacked him, so that you did something wrong. Whereas like maybe in another country, right, you saying "fuck you" to somebody provoked them, so like he's not in the right, but you're both in the wrong because the lack of freedom of speech.
Exactly, the lack of freedom of speech in a way. But even at the same time, a lot of people do that, as in say fuck you to someone, then they get their ass beaten. Like, well, why you beat his ass? Because he said fuck you to me. And that's understandable in a way. But a lot of
And
people,
right, right, and the person that beat the ass is actually the person in the wrong. Like he could be the one put in handcuffs for that. That's not protected. I mean, nobody might, maybe nobody will tell, maybe nobody will say anything, right?
uh
But
huh,
he's the one in the wrong. That person broke the law, right?
yeah,
Because there's the right So life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Um, you take anybody else's rights away, then perhaps your rights, you're foregoing your rights. Because if you're saying that you don't respect somebody else's rights, and that you're pretty much saying you don't respect the rights, so basically you don't even respect your own rights.
Indeed. And but at the same time, like a person, like I could see why someone will take that aspect and be like, "Why do I get to fuck you?" But some people, like, if they don't know you and they don't give a fuck, they're just like, "All right, fuck you
Yeah, I
too."
mean,
Then, like,
that's the most sane thing to do at the end of the day. Like, if you actually go and get provoked by it, like, you're feeding into it. Like, if somebody's harassing you, like, let's say, like, you're saying fuck you and, like, you're blocking their way, then at that point, it's not about your freedom of speech anymore. You're harassing them.
yeah, but even at the same time, in a way, when you look at it, if it's like a crazy person, as in like they're homeless, they got nothing left for them, they got nothing, they're just out here just saying fuck you to people, which there is homeless people that do that. A lot of them
Yeah.
don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't pay attention to homeless people at all, because, I mean, people, like, at a certain level, like, oh, some people do need help, but, like, if somebody's, like, acting crazy, then,
Yeah.
like it's like, just fucking ignore them, homeless or not. Like,
Well, yeah, but even at the time, like, it's kind of like I'm gonna put this in context. Like, it was like a couple days ago. I was driving down the street. Driving down the street in my sports car, and I'm coming to a light, and this is a dude I've met before, but like I was doing a music video at the time, so it was kind of like we were just chit chatting, talking. He wanted to listen to the song, so my friend Timothy was doing a music video, so he listened to a song. He was like, "Oh, it's cool," he went on his way, and then I see him again, maybe like a month later. I see him again. He's walking his dog, and I'm coming to a stop. As I'm coming to a stop, I revved my engine, and I didn't know it was him until after. And he fucking he stops walking, thinking I was just gonna fly past him. Which, as if you put two and two together, I'm stopping. You know what I'm saying? Even though yes, I did rev my engine, I'm stopping. So he was like, "Man, if you would have run my dad, if you would have run my dog over, I would have shoot your ass and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Come on, bro, it was just a joke. Calm your ass down." And he was like, "On my dead uncle, bro, I would have shot your ass and blah, blah," that whole entire shit. But as you put that into context, I didn't know it was the dude from the music video, or the dude that walked by the music video wanted to hear the song. And as he's talking, I'm like, "Oh, that's the dude from the shit." So, and then you never, and then as you see, you don't see him again. I haven't seen him again since that aspect. But you get into conversations with someone, or into a correlation with someone, and then you don't see him again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like maybe
what's your point?
I don't even know what I was getting at, to be honest with you. I had a point to it as I was trying to get into it, and then as I was getting into it, I was kind of losing my point. But the point was with to be honest, I really don't know. I don't know what my point aspect was. That it was kind of I had a point to it, and then I lost it after. I was like, why am I getting into this subject? Even though I had a point to it, and then as you're getting into it, you lose the point.
Yeah, you never see them again, but that was literally a person, you saw on the street. He was listening to your music video, right?
He was,
and then you saw him again.
Yeah.
He was a random person that you saw, right?
Yeah, you saw him again.
And then your entire yeah, you didn't see him again after that second point. But the thing is, you did see him again. That wasn't your first meeting with him.
No,
so you did see him again.
Yeah, you did, but at the point, okay. Actually, if you go into the aspect, it's kind of like video games where 9 times out of 10 you will not see him again. You know what I'm saying? And when you run into someone 9 times out of 10, you won't see them again as you run into them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will only see them again if you're friends with them or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, you into someone on the street, you won't see them again. Just like on the
Yeah,
game.
there's like a high likelihood that you see them again. There's an even higher likelihood you see them again on a game that is like on a worldwide network.
And that's also
But like,
going to as like, going against crazy people that say fuck you. Like,
right.
times out of 10, you don't see them again unless they hang out in the gas station when there's a lot of homeless motherfuckers that hang out at the gas station, bug the fuck out of you like you're in a third world country. You know what I'm saying? And that's
What,
the
asking
same
somebody?
asking for money. You don't understand how many times since I'm out in the workforce and whatnot, I have to go to Walmart, which there's homeless motherfuckers that hang out at Walmart, like literally hang out at Walmart, and they
Yeah,
ask
I
me
know that.
every time I walk up, "Do you have money?" No. And then the next day, "Do you have money?" No. Or like even like I go on break, I see them again. "Do you have money?" No. Like, I don't have money, but it's kind of like that same aspect as if you go into a third world country like Iran or some shit, and you get thousand motherfuckers. "Do you have money? Do you have money? Do you want to sell this? You want to sell this? Or do you want this? You want this?" Like, it's kind of like that aspect in a way. Like, you just get ransacked with motherfuckers that ask you, "Do you want this? Or do you want to sell this?" Like, even people that sell shit on the street, I get into that shit with motherfuckers where like they just
So
ask me.
I have a question for you. So like on the concept of like, okay, so people begging for money versus people trying to sell you. Which do you think is better? Like, would you rather somebody just beg for money, or would you rather somebody like actually try to like, sell you stuff?
Neither.
Presume I'm saying it's an ultimatum. Like, what do you think is the lesser of two evils? And then
I feel like the money part as in asking for money, I understand. The the part where people are selling shit because they don't want to go out there and go get a real job is the ultimatum as in you're harassing motherfuckers for you want to sell your shit. Cool. But when you ask the same people every amount of day, tamales, 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 and you get a no, it starts to become annoying. You know what I'm saying? When you stand in the front of a Walmart or a Target or a Fumex or whatever the fuck, even an alcohol fucking smoke shop, asking motherfuckers for
right.
money or asking motherfuckers, do you want a tamale or whatever the fuck, it starts
So
to
you're
get,
saying you'd rather them just ask for money than try to sell you shit?
well, not even just that, like, I rather them not asking me nothing at all because
I get it, but like between the two options,
I'd rather
what do you
them
think
just
is?
ask me for money and I just say no and they go on their way.
I
You
mean, on
know?
my point of view, right? Like, I mean, if they're trying to sell something, they're at least trying to like be on a hustle, right? If they're
Well,
just begging for money,
like,
I
I
mean, and some
get the
people,
hustle. I get the
because like
hustle.
if you're homeless, right? Like if you were hiring, right?
I wouldn't
Would it
hire a
how
homeless
like
person.
exactly? So they're stuck. Most people wouldn't, because like they don't have reliable transportation. They don't have like they're not clean. They're not hygienic. They don't have like spare clothes and stuff like that. So the likelihood of a homeless person getting hired anywhere is very low. So like for
Hmm.
them at that point, for them to even be able to help themselves. So basically, all they have are the two options of begging for money and doing a hustle. And from my point of view, right, at least doing, as long as their hustle doesn't require them, to steal, right? Because at that point, then it's like not a good hustle. But
Well,
the
I
like I'd say
understand
the
the
hustle is
hustle.
probably
I
right.
understand
Hustle's
the
probably
hustle.
better than the
Yeah, you're
begging
not
point.
wrong. I under
If you're begging, you should probably get help from charity, right? Because if I mean, yeah,
like I understand the hustle.
I mean, and
In
some
many
people need to start their hustle from begging because like maybe the begging is what gets them their
Uh-huh.
initial investment into getting into their hustle, and the hustle probably gives them better odds of being. Because what's the likelihood of somebody wanting to get? What's the like? Maybe not the same people every day, but like maybe somebody's like, yeah, I want a fucking tamale. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, versus, oh, will you give me money for nothing? And so like, there's probably better odds for them to like, make up some money for the
Well,
hustle
like,
aspect.
yeah, like I said, I understand the hustle, and
Mm-hmm.
I get the hustle. In many ways, I kind of respect it in a way, but at the same time, go get a real job. Go, like, stop
But
doing.
we right, but like I said, like the likelihood of them being able to get a job from that position is lower than just the person sitting at home lazy. Because like, yeah, there's a point where it's like, oh yeah, you don't have a job because you're lazy, or you don't have a job and you don't have a house. Like maybe at one point it was because you're lazy, but it's your level of work ethic doesn't matter if you're gonna be stinking and not have like nobody wants to work with a stinky person, right?
Oh,
Nobody wants
no
to
one
work with
wants to work with
somebody.
it, bro. Sneaky people are fucking crazy.
Exactly, exactly. So the likelihood of them at that point, it's not about being lazy or wanting to be able to work at all. Like they need to have a base level of standard to even get hired in the first place.
But even at like, the same time, like it's kind of just like, how do I put this into play? When, like, I see all the time motherfuckers hustling. I mean, all the time. There's a dude down the street from Fumax, literally, like, I live right behind a store named Fumax. And I go there at least once a week or twice a week. And he's there out front selling tamales. All the
Mm.
time, every time, the whole shit. And I get it. And
And
he's
you never
like,
want tamales,
and I
so
never want
you're just
tamales.
like, but yeah, it means like, because I
But
mean, what
but at the
like
same
if you go
time,
back in time, like what there's places with food carts. Like food trucks are like a more modern thing, but like you go to like New York and shit, there's like food carts and shit. Like you go to places, there's food carts, and that's how they do their hustle. You go to a baseball game, you go to a sports event, you see the people running around yelling out, "Hey, hot dogs!"
but see, they're getting paid to do that. They're getting paid to do that because that's their actual.
Right, but for every if they're selling right, so like if you're self-employed, you don't have a job, right?
Indeed.
Um, so like the only way for you to get paid is for you to sell it, right? The people
Hmm.
doing it, like at that ballpark, right? They don't get paid per hot dog sold. I would say they're not a business owner. The person doing it on their own free will, not working for a company. They get paid per product per unit sold.
Most
Like that's the
definitely.
same. It's the same thing. Like they don't have a boss. Like they don't.
Oops.
I'm saying like they probably can't get a job because of if they're homeless. Like maybe if they're not like they shouldn't be doing it in a place that like because it's probably illegal to sell shit at the front of Walmart. It's probably illegal to sell shit at the like on the Food Max parking lot, like the Food Max parking lot. It's probably illegal to do that. They're still doing it anyway, but like really, like
Mm.
I mean, my point is like it's not worse than the person at the ballpark. I'd say on a personal level, it's probably better for the person like doing it on their own free will because like you don't need a job. Like self-employment is a thing. Like you know what I'm saying? If you can get yourself up to a point to where you don't need a job, like who's gonna pay you? Per unit sold is how most people like in that position get paid. Person at the ballpark gets paid dollar wage an hour, but
Yeah, but even like in that type of aspect, in a way, you're you're getting harassed by people that you know, don't go out there and go get a job. And yeah, there might be a reason why they can't go out there and go get it because they're either illegal, illegal alien or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But at the
So
same
like,
time, like,
depending on where you're at, I'd say the definition of harassment might be slightly different. But like, if they're not stopping you, like like completely like blocking your path or something like that, then maybe they're not actually harassing you. Maybe they're being annoying. That's the thing with like freedom of speech. Like it's probably, like I said, it's probably illegal for them to be selling on the Food Max property. That's the Food Max property, and Food Max probably, that's up to Food Max to take care of that. But like, if they're not stopping you and like blocking your path and like basically being like, oh, buy this, buy this, buy this, like stopping you, not just like letting you walk past and they're just advertising it, because that advertising is a form of free speech.
Good job, dude.
yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh
Hello?
yeah. Hello.
Okay. Oh my. Shit, they came into my room and was like, pizza's here. I was like, fuck. Alright. But,
I just heard good job, dude, and that kind of like completely like threw off my flow. I was like, what?
my brother told my nephew, good job, man. And I was like,
uh,
okay, alright. Slight break. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. I need to go get food. So, and then once I come back, we can start again. And whatnot. So, just hold on a sec. Alright, we're back. Sorry for the interruption, you guys. Dinner came and yeah, dinner came, so I had to go get food. But we're back,
yeah.
so if you hear me, then that means I'm eating dinner. But
They just heard you right now do that, so
I know.
I'm just,
So, but anyway, sorry if I fucked up your flow, Itchy. But
no problem.
back to what I was saying, as in, people that stand in front of a store, doesn't matter if it's Target, Food Max, Walmart, grocery store, any type of whatever.
I
They,
get it. It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious no matter what.
yeah,
But like, I'd say the person on the hustle is probably like doing something better for themselves than the person just simply begging. And maybe the person trying to do the hustle, maybe like it, depending on where they're starting out at, because like there's the difference between the illegal alien doing it and they do have a place to stay, but that's the only place they can make money, the only way they can make money, versus the person that's actually homeless doing it, right? um, I'd say that for the homeless person, that's probably the best they can do for themselves at that time. And like maybe they need to start like by begging, but like the fact that they're not begging anymore because they, you know, got some money to, do something recurring and help themselves, is like, that I'd say that's better than just simply begging, because at least they're asking for a fair trade, right? Um,
yeah.
but I get it. It's obnoxious. Either way, it's obnoxious. People begging, people trying to hassle you to buy something. Um, whether or not it's harassment, like
Well, sometimes
that.
people have in stores where it says no soliciting or
No, yeah,
solicit?
no solicitation. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and they
at that
still do
point
it.
yeah, that's that's illegal then, like because they're on private property, and the owners of the private property asked for. I mean, it's publicly private property. It's private public property, but and the owners of that private public property has formally stated that no solicitation, and they're breaking the law at that point. Um,
Indeed. But even at the same time of, having a thing that says no solicitation or whatever, they're still gonna do it because either they don't give a fuck or they're trying to make their money, so fuck what they're trying to say. But it's like, you're going up to people asking for money, or you're going up to people and asking for money. You're going up to people for whatever reason, to get a profit, as in selling something or whatever. And
Mhm.
I tell you now, all I see is Latinos or Latin people doing it all the time. You never really see white, you never see black, Asian, you see
But the
Latin.
solicitation
You see solicitation with Asians. I never
with
rarely see people different skin color than Latinos or Latin doing it. Never. That's all I really see is Latin motherfuckers doing that shit. And like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, why should I? Did you just fart?
sounds like it, doesn't it?
What was that?
It was a fake part.
Oh, um, but at the same time, like, like they don't. They kind of just look like they don't want to get out there and go get a job. They just want to sit there and sell shit and hope they make a profit off it. They sit out there for 10 hours a day, hoping to get a profit or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's cool, but at the same time, it doesn't look good on anybody. When you sit out there, you know, you want tamales, and at the same time, why should I take food from you when I don't even know what you make it out of? I don't know you put drugs in that shit. Like, I don't know what you make it out of. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, there's no drugs, but like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you clean your hands.
Right. They're not. They don't have um any any paperwork saying that they can provide food to the public.
Yeah, that's true. Also, they don't have paperwork that said they can provide food to the public. They just do it because no one's gonna tell them no. Like,
Right.
or they're gonna look racist doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they have that in their conscience, like, well, fuck. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like,
I mean, if your true concern isn't like, with racist intentions, then the fact that like if you have to like be scared of that in the first place is like kind of astounding, right?
it's kind
Because
of
like if
what?
you're going kind of astounding, like because like if your real fear is like not, if it's like you're asking for well, like do you have paperwork saying that you can do like public food, like you know good, just because you're trying to be safe for your own health, right? And that's your real reason. Then it's like, just to even question whether or not like you'd be scared of being accused of being racist.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's astounding. Because I mean, of course there are racist people, but that just simply having that concern doesn't necessarily make you racist, right?
Yeah, but like, you know, you go to someone that's selling shit on your property, and like, you know, you ask them, do you have papers? And they say no, and you say, well, get off my
Well, if they
fucking
have
pro.
no if there's no solicitation to begin with, then like there's no solicitation.
Yeah, but you don't want to be that asshole that, do you have papers? Do you have
Right, but
papers?
if there's no solicitation, you don't even have to ask that question. It's just like no solicitation means no solicitation.
Yeah, that's true also. Like, you're not lying. But even then, like, you know, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like a whatever thing. Like, at the end of the day, it's whatever. But at the same time, like, when you deal with it all the time, you're like, well, fuck, man. Like, what makes you think a week later I'm still gonna want tamales? Like, if I don't want
Maybe he
tamales,
doesn't. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't recognize you.
see, like, it's kind of hard to really put that in content because, like, I recognize
Like
people
how
all the
many?
time.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you see someone all the time. Like, you see thousands of motherfuckers all the damn time, and yet it is hard to like continue remembering who you see and who you don't see. But at the same time, if you see that person again, you're gonna recognize them. Cause I do. I see thousands of people all the time working, and not, I wouldn't say thousands, like hundreds of people all the time. And I recognize
that's reasonable.
I recognize people that come into the store like every day, all the time. Like, I recognize people all the time coming into the store. The same people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Left, right.
but it's like, but like at the same time they just stand there, and they're in your little walkway. Well, not even in your walkway. They're on like the corner of it. Tamales, or or whatever the fuck they're selling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, and then you go on your way, and then you come out of the store, tamales, and you're like, no, and you go on your way, and then you do that over and over and over again every time you go to that store. That starts to get annoying after a while, because it's like they're kind of like beating the bush,
Right.
You're trying to see how many times they can get at it from you to say, all right, fuck, give me some damn tamales. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually you're gonna give,
That's the bet, right?
And that's the more annoying part, as in, they won't stop until you give. Then once you give, they'll go more. They know, okay, as much times I asked tamales, he didn't give. And then once he give, okay, now I know how many times I have to ask tamales until he gives. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, how many times is Call of Duty going to do microtransactions until, people finally give? They try to reach that export of how far that can they go. And that's the same type of analogy. How far can they go? Until you give, until you say, fuck it, I want some tamales, or fuck it, I want this, or fuck it, I want that.
See, that's the thing, because like back when, they were selling skins like $2, right? Like $2 skins. I bought a couple, right? But now that they're like $20 fucking, it's like I'm not even gonna go anywhere near that shit. No skin's worth $20.
Of course, not enough skins worth $20. What? It'll be different with like CS:GO, where you can sell that shit.
Right.
You get then you see a profit on it. You see a profit. Maybe you won't get a total profit, but you get some type of money back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not a profit unless you make more than.
Okay, well, let's say you get 15 out of $20 back. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's a loss, but
But at the same time, you didn't make a profit, but you got 15 out of $20 back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't make profit, but you got most of your money back. You know what I'm saying? Most, not all, but most. Like maybe $5 off. And $5 is kind of like a give or take. Like, yeah, you didn't make your $5, like you made $15 back, but you didn't make the extra $5 back. Yeah, but at the same time, like, that's only $5. You know what I'm saying? You didn't make profit, but it's only $5. Like, $5 is really ain't shit to me. Like $5 is really ain't shit. But at the same time, if you want to make a profit back, even if $1, that's still making profit. It's not much of a profit, but like, that's, if you spent $20 and you made 21, you still made a profit. $1, but you still made some type of profit off it. Money is money at the end of the day. Profit is profit. You know?
Right, exactly.
So, like, what if they did do some type of thing where it was like CSGO, where you can sell skins?
In Call of Duty,
In Call of Duty, yes.
um, that would be, I would say that'd be a more fair. Like if you could, I would say that'd be a more fair thing. I'd probably be more likely to buy something, to take the leap and to go buy something. Um, but then that goes into speculation, because for you to be able to make a profit, you have to know, like, oh, what are the likelihood more people will buy it, right? And for you to make profit, you have to drag the price up. Because like you get the skin from CS:GO directly, right? You get the skins from them through the boxes, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of skins, and the skins have different rarities, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so like how much that skin actually costs you to get is on a variable basis. So like if Call of Duty's giving you the skins, like, for sure, like you bought the skin, but they're only selling it for this month. So then
Mhm.
there's so then basically like there'd have to be something saying like how many skins are available in total, like how rare it is and stuff like that. It goes into the NFT market thing. And then again, that also bubbles up. So like people, if everybody's going in trying to make a profit, somebody's going to go buy it and never be able to sell it. So like you basically have to weigh your risks into your like gains, like your risks and your rewards. Um, so like
Mhm.
yeah, I'd probably be more likely to buy one at that point. But like if the starting point's $20, right?
Mhm.
Then like it's you're not going to be buying them for $20, right? Um, like when they go off of the official store, like, and then of course they have to be extremely careful because um, Steam has gotten in trouble for shit with the people gambling them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So like you have to be careful with it still.
Well, yeah, you have to be careful with it, but at the same time, like, uh, excuse me, that was totally my fault. But at the same time, as long as it's not gambling, like in that fine line of gambling and not gambling, I'm pretty sure you could be fine. Like, if you sell,
Right.
it's kind of like selling tamales off the street. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it is. But what like I'm saying is it's still like that risk or reward thing, right? I would say I'd be more likely to buy it. I'd say I'd probably like it more if they did that, and there'd be more of a reward to the players if they did that, right? It would also affect like, if people don't like what they release a certain month, then like they're not going to be making any money off of it. Obviously, they might do something where there's like a commission, and if there's a commission that they take, then it would drive the price up even higher. So if they're going to take off like $5 off the top to on the get go, you hear me?
yeah, I hear you. I'm listening to everything you're
So
saying.
if they're taking $5 off at the top at the get go, and you bought it initially from them for $20, then for you to make any money off of it, you're going to have to sell it for at least $26, or like 25 and some change, because if they're going to take $5 for every skin sold, um, so then the next person would have to sell it for 30 something bucks, or like 30, yeah, 30 something bucks, and then like the next person. So like basically it's only going to hop around so many times before it stops being worth it. um and that skin is like never going to exchange hands again without somebody losing money again. Like I said, I would say it's probably better that I would probably be more likely to buy initially to begin with, because I would have the illusion of being able to make my money back on it. um
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
again, that has the you have to weigh your risk and reward. I'd say that'd probably be more fair, but I don't think it's perfect.
You don't think it's perfect?
No,
Well, I would say it kind of just goes both ways in a way. Like,
because it can eat into their profits, right? Because if they're already trying to sell them for $20 a piece, and like I said, I don't even believe they're worth $20 a piece, right? I would buy them $2 without making my money back, but I wouldn't buy them for $20 without making my money back. And then the likelihood of somebody like, paying $30 for it because, like, let's say you bought it for $20 off of them, and then the next person, like, you're selling it, and then you sell it for like $26, and then the next person would have to sell it for like $32, or like, yeah, 30, like
So the
$32.
value of it just goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher.
No, no, the perceived value of it goes higher,
Yeah.
right? There's going to be a point to which nobody's going to want to buy it for that price. So then the last person that has it will never sell it, or they'll
Yeah.
have to lose money.
Well, yeah, that's true.
See, the
They
reason why like the loot box model from CS:GO works is because you're not like you're paying like $5 for a key to open up a crate, and the value of the skin that comes out of it could be anywhere between $2 and $100 per se. So you spend $2, you're not spending $20. So like if Call of Duty was to do something like that, for them to like not go way too out of hand, way too fast with it would be to drop their prices to begin with. And Steam doesn't even take commission from the resales. I mean, they kind of do. Like, I'm pretty sure selling stuff through Steam, they do take a commission. But like, I'd expect Call of Duty to be more greedy with their commission.
Oh, definitely. You expect? I wouldn't doubt it. Call of Duty is a very greedy company, but ever since Activision has come into play, I feel like I don't know. Is Xbox greedy?
I'd say they're probably better with it. Like they do stuff where they lose money on stuff. Like,
Well, yeah. Well, those consoles, I would say that is a lot the greediest thing about all of them. Like, if you
well,
know
yeah,
what,
because they lose money on the console, but they make it back on the game sales because they commission the
yeah,
people selling games on it.
yes,
They make their money back on the game sales and the subscription, like
indeed,
the
and that's why they're
yeah. So
so. That's why they don't cost as much, which we all know. But at the same time, Xbox or Microsoft, my bad. Microsoft owns COD officially.
now, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and David
I mean,
Vonderhaar.
they're still having to like follow through with that
I,
contract with Sony, but
I get that. I get that. But at the same time, what's it called? Microsoft, I would assume, isn't as greedy as the usual market person. You know what I'm saying? As in, gaming company. And since Xbox owns Activision now, they're able to do whatever the fuck they want. I feel like this is just how I feel. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. Xbox is gonna make Activision a whole lot better company ever now that what's his face, not David Vonderhaar, but the other bigger dude. I forgot his name. The weirdo. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I don't know his name either.
I don't know his name either, but he was the main dude that was very money hungry, as they would say, and just wanted all about the money and didn't give a fuck, which everyone really understands. But at the same time, it's kind of a bitch move a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Gouging motherfuckers for money. So,
Right.
I feel like Xbox is gonna be a very better company for Xbox or for Activision, as in they have to do what Xbox says at the end of the day. That's pretty much like they have to do what Xbox says, and if Xbox doesn't want to be greedy, then they can't be greedy. You know what I'm saying? They kind of have that fine line where they can control their gaming companies, as in if they don't want to be greedy, Xbox isn't going to be greedy. You know what I'm saying? Because then that would look bad on Xbox. You know what I'm saying? That would look bad on Xbox if they do that. You know?
Hmm.
So, at the same time, that's just how I feel. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I will say that I'm wrong. But if I'm right, then I'm right. And then I will be glad if I'm right than wrong. To be honest, I'll be more glad if I'm right than wrong. So I hope Activision does do. I hope Xbox does not become a Activision, but I don't think they're gonna be. If you know what I mean.
You think they'll be better with it? You
Yeah, I
think
feel like
they'll
they'll treat. I feel like they would. Well, one, they're gonna put everything on Game Pass. Like every Call of Duty of known demand is gonna be on Game Pass. So they already fixed the servers for Xbox on Call of Duty from Call of Duty 4 on. Basically, Call of Duty 4 to what, Black Ops 2. They fixed all the servers for
they
Xbox.
fix
No,
them?
not yeah, they fixed them. Like it's not 1,000% better, but you get into less modded lobbies. I would say so. Hacked lobbies. Not saying it's 1,000% perfect, but
I
it's,
mean,
it's
some of those, depending on the game, some of those modded lobbies were like allowed cross-platform,
really.
like Modern Warfare 2 modded lobbies.
Uh huh.
Like they did, there was a mod, like there was a mod that was made, like a hack that was made for PC, and like at first you had to like actually download that hack, right?
Uh
To
huh.
like be able to utilize it. But then like when the server started dying and like less people were playing, they basically hacked the entire game. So like on all platforms. So they put the hack on all the platforms to like just pull people into the lobbies to like increase the player base.
Yeah. Um.
So like it was hacked, but it wasn't like people with aimbot and like I mean obviously anybody could have aimbot, but like it wasn't like hacked lobbies where people were just like, "Oh yeah, you can't kill me." It was more so like I mean, it still allows that type of shit, but like it was opening up the player base, like increasing the player base of the game overall, like for people to be able to play together. So like it was unlocking the gates like of the individual platforms.
Mhm. Well, I don't know. Like they did. Like people did do good for Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2, as in hacking wise. But there was also people that did bad for it, which they
Yeah,
probably
there's
focused on the
good and
bad more than good.
right, but some of the stuff that I've heard that has happened, like I think right before, because like Activision has been like it's been a couple years, so like when they started messing with that, like well since Modern Warfare 2, right before Modern Warfare 2 actually came out, they fucked that shit up on the old Modern Warfare 2. Um, so like it was before like Microsoft actually bought them when they were fucking with that. But yeah, there's some negative things, like things that were good that were happening in the hacking scene were like also damaged because of that.
Yeah.
So like
Um.
yeah, they damaged the bad, but they also damaged the good. Got to take the good with the bad sometimes.
Well, shit. Hopefully.
I need to remind you, you yourself were like trying to do that whole thing with that
Well,
USB
they
stick.
only did it. Well, yes, that too, that too. But they only did it for Xbox. They didn't do it for PC. They didn't do it for PlayStation. They only did it for Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I really don't think they're gonna mess with PC because PC is on their own type of shit and wanna, you know what I'm saying. But I feel like PlayStations they are gonna mess with because it's just another console, and it's hard to do that with PlayStation. I would say so myself, like PS3 wise. But at the same time, it's only for 360s. It's not for like Call of Ghost and up. You know what I'm saying? I think Call of Ghost and up,
Mm-hmm.
you don't gotta worry about hacking.
Well, they got the dedicated servers, but
Yeah.
like you'd have to like hack the game. You'd have to mod the game to change the servers that it was pointing to, because the game points to the dedicated servers. So like you have to like tell it to, hey, you know those servers that you normally relay to? Well, you relay to these servers now, type of deal. To change that, because Ghost was a dedicated server game.
Yeah. Well, shit. At the same time, I don't know, like, I feel like this is what I feel like Xbox should do. And I don't, if they don't do this, they don't. It's kind of like whatever type of thing. But they should really just combine all the games together from Call of Duty 4 to what Black Ops 2. They should just combine them all together and just make it one big ass game. You know what I'm saying? Where it's updated graphics.
You're saying re-release it as one big like.
Yeah, so it's a combination. So Call of Duty 4 is Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare 2 is Modern Warfare 2. World at War is World at War. You know, Black Ops 2 is Black Ops 2 and everything with those games. So everything's separated. So it's not like, you know, Call of Duty Mobile where everything's fucking together. No. Everything is separated between each game, but it's all updated. Graphics.
You're saying like with like what they did with the Halo.
Yeah.
Like the collection. What was it, the Master Chief Collection?
Yeah. That's what I feel like they should do. And that would be an extreme big thing for Call of Duty if they do that, because one, they like, yes, they have to start over on everything, which who fucking cares?
What if they did Call of Duty, like they did two like collections of the game, and they did Call of Duty the like I don't know, the Reznov collection or like whatever, the Mason collection, and they did Call of Duty Modern Warfare collection.
So they did so they make Treyarch's a whole different game and Infinity War is a whole different game.
Well, because like the Black Ops series like goes together, right? And then the Modern Warfare.
So what about
series,
Sledgehammer?
Sledgehammer?
Yeah, because Sledgehammer made, or well, Sledgehammer basically made Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, they worked on Modern Warfare 3. They made most of it.
But we're just talking about 360 games. Activision and Infinity Ward are basically the main people that did 360. Sledgehammer just did a part of Modern Warfare 3, which is alright.
Because I mean, they also, which Neversoft is better known for like making the rock, like not the Rockstar, but like the Guitar Hero games.
Mm-hmm.
They also made this. No, was it Neversoft? I think Treyarch made some of the Spider-Man games back then.
I'm not sure on that. But at the same time, like, that's what I feel like Xbox should do, something like that. I don't know if it's particularly what you said, make it separately, which that'll be fine. That's like whatever. But at the same time, I feel like it should be just all together, which is.
I mean, yeah, they could all just be together, like all of them.
I feel like it really wouldn't matter at that point.
Because where does Call of Duty 3 go in this? Because Call of Duty 3 is a World War II game. That's a Treyarch game, but it doesn't really belong to the Black Ops series.
Well, that's why I was saying Call of Duty 4 and up. Like, Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3 are kind of like their standalone shit. I want to say so. I don't know if Call of Duty 1 and 2 and 3 are connected together somehow. I don't think that's a thing.
They're all World War II games.
Huh?
Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3
They are all World War II games, yeah. But are they connected as a storyline?
I mean, what? Some of them are like the European front, and some of them were like the...
Like what I mean by that is, like, I can play Call of Duty 3 and be good. Like, I don't gotta play Call of Duty 2, I don't gotta play Call of Duty 1 and, like, be fucking, like, dumb fucked, basically. Like, frowned upon, like... Not frowned upon. Fucking dumb fucked, like, oh my god, I gotta play Call of Duty 1 and 2 because I don't know what's happening in Call of Duty 3. Like, even though I played Call of Duty 3 to an extent, I don't know if it's into that.
World War II, but they're not all the same battles.
Okay, so they're all different as in storyline. Okay, as in Call of Duty 1 is their storyline, Call of Duty 2 is their storyline, and Call of Duty 3 is their
There
storyline.
might be overlap too, I'm not sure.
Huh?
There might be some overlap, I'm not sure, but like, yeah, like
Well,
they they all have their own battles.
I would feel. I don't know if they should. Like, if they did remaster Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty 3, and let's say they put it on the same engine it is today. Okay? They remastered it from thick and thin, as in. Uh,
I don't even think it would be worth it.
why
Like,
you say that?
because we already have Call of Duty World War II.
Well, okay.
They're all pretty much Call of Duty World War IIs.
Yes, you're not wrong. But like they remastered Call of Duty remastered because of Infinity Warfare was going to do trash, so they remastered that. So what was the point of that in that aspect?
Right. Well, because like, what was it? Like, I'm pretty sure Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, because like it wasn't until Call of Duty 4 where like you started to get to know the characters that well, right? Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, like, yeah, like to an extent, some of like even Call of Duty 4, you're playing as different characters, but the characters like those, since that became a series, like you get to know those characters over 3 games. Um, but like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like you don't even ever really get to know the characters. It kind of is like you just, oh, your character is dead. Okay, so now there's a new character because at the end of that mission your character dies. So then there's a new, you don't never really get to know like the character. Like it's just a telling of World War II. Like, yeah, remastering it would be cool, but like, yeah, I mean, I'm not against remastering it, but I'm saying like, is it really worth it to remaster? Because it's not what, like after Call of Duty 4, the idea of like the Call of Duty campaigns has kind of changed.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there's ideas that like what maybe Call of Duty World at War is connected to the Black Ops storyline, but like it's kind of a stretch still. And like, because I think Infinity Ward really started like the idea of like, connecting the characters across the games. Because like when like after Modern Warfare, then obviously World at War came out, and then Modern Warfare 2, and they're like, okay. Then Black Ops came out, and then Black Ops 2. So they started. So Infinity Ward really started like the trilogy concept where characters stayed across multiple games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. Well,
I mean, a remaster would be cool, but I'd say those 3 games, they're all World War II. I mean, they might have slightly different battles, but some of the battles might overlap. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they did have 2 different versions of Halo 3, right?
they did.
They had,
Well, they had Halo 3 and they had Halo 3 ODST,
yeah,
which, from what I was told, Halo 3 ODST was happening around the same time as Halo 3 was happening, so it was kind of like.
it was like you weren't playing as Master Chief.
No, you weren't playing as Master Chief, but
Yeah,
it was weird because Halo 3 ODST was actually a more different way of looking at Halo because you know how Halo really what's it called? Halo 3 is more of Halo 3 ODST is more open world.
Mhm.
Halo 3 ODST is more open world in that aspect, as in you have a subject to go to, but you can roam around that premises. You know what I'm saying? You're in like you start out in a city, okay,
right.
and your your job is to go to the objective and find out like do shit and whatnot. And Halo 3 is not like that. It's more they hold your hand through the shit and you just go to A to B to C to D. You know that aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Halo 3 ODST, I think, is the first time like Halo or 3 or Bungie venture out that aspect as in MMO. Not like MMO, like
No, not MMO.
not MMO. Free roam aspect. You know what I'm saying? You know how like Halo Infinite is more like free roam? That's kind of like how Halo 3 ODST is.
Okay.
Except on a lower scale. Where, yes, you do have places to go in Halo 3 ODST, and there are some places locked off where you literally cannot go to it, but you can venture around the fucking place, basically. You know, you don't have to fall there. You can go to a whole nother, even though you have an objective in a whole different area, you can go somewhere else. So, like, they don't hold your hand, as in, like, basically show you wherever place you want to go, but you have to find your way through those areas by yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's like locked doors, per se. And if there's locked doors, you can't go through them. So you have to find places that are locked doors. And they don't just tell you where they're at. You have to find it. That's how Halo 3 ODST is. And Halo 3 and Halo 2 and 1 and everything else has been very hold your hand-ish. It's not... you just follow your way through.
Right, it's like a basic rail shooter.
Yeah, it's basically A, B, C, D.
Rail shooters are simple, but
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's basically A, B, C, D. You know what I'm saying? And into that aspect, Halo 3 was different. Like, Halo 3 ODST, my bad. ODST was different. Like, it was a different objective going on in Halo. And I feel like they should have done more of that with other Halos, like Halo 4 and Halo 5 and, you know, other Halos that they were making. But they didn't do that. They more went of holding your hand and just went to A, B, C, D, E. You know what I'm saying? Like, Halo Reach was holding your hand. They held your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there was storyline, just like Halo 3 ODST. There was storyline to it, but they didn't hold your hand. You had to go out there and find it. And it was kind of hard because, like, there was shit, like, well, probably, like, now, probably is not, like, I kind of remember what I have to do. But, like, when you're first doing it, you're like, where the fuck do I have to go? You know what I'm saying? You're kind of lost. Like, there was objectives that you had to do and find pieces to go to the next area. Now, like, when you look at it, you're like, well, I can go and do that with no problem. But before, when you first start out, you're just like, what the fuck? This is not usually like how Halo is. And it was a different objective. And I kind of liked that in a way of Halo. That was a different objective of doing a story mode in a way. But they went away from that when 343 came along and just said, fuck it. We're just going to hold your hand through everything. You know what I'm saying? Halo Infinite was the first time they kind of made it more free roam where they didn't hold your hand. Like, they had objectives for you to go to, but they didn't hold your hand. You could have went to different places and whatnot. It was very, like, Halo 3 DST was still structured. It was still structured, but it had that free roam aspect also.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can look on a map and see where you have to go. So there was structure. Like, you know, like, there was areas where it guided you into those ways. Yes, but you had to find the way to get there. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying it was more like an RPG?
Yeah, it was more like RPG. That's what not MMO, RPG.
Yeah, an MMO is like might be a type of RPG, but not all RPGs are MMOs.
It was more like Halo 3 ODST had a structure, it had free roam, but there was still this RPG aspect. It wasn't third person, it was still first person, but there was still like moments in that area where you were actually like having to find out where to go. Like, there was times in that story where it did hold your hand. Yes, there was. But some moments in that time, there was no holding hand. You had to find your way through. Which was cool about it. So it had that balance. Like, there was structure, there was RPG-ish, but everything had a balance to come with it. And I kind of liked that about Halo 3 ODST. But they got rid of it, so it was like, well, fuck it. And then when Halo Infinite came out, they went back to that RPG aspect, as in, they don't hold your hand through everything. which I kind of like that in a way. I like that in a game where you kind of have to find your own way through. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can go look online and find your way through, but holding a hand like how Call of Duty does, where they hold your hand through everything, basically, is kind of like we're 5 years old. You know what I'm
Right, and then
saying?
there's like game, and I feel like making a game where it's not as straightforward, like those type of games, like the Call of Duties, the normal Halo games, like with Master Chief, like those type of games, that's like a genre in itself, right? It's not quite a rare because like those shooters, like I would say, came from the rail shooter genre. I mean,
Yes.
they're on rails, but they're not rail shooters. Like, you know, the games where it's like, oh, you go into a section, like you can't move, but like you're just shooting shit, and then like after you finish that section on the rail, it moves you to the next section. So like they came from that. Those type of games, I would say, are easier to develop
Most definitely
than
are easier to develop, but
the open. So like they're trying to make blockbusters. So like a movie. So it's supposed to be like a movie.
mm-hmm.
Um, so if they're trying to make a blockbuster, then it's a lot easier to make a blockbuster game that has like a very definitive you go here, then you go here, then you go here. Versus like it's really hard to make like a blockbuster game if you can go pretty much anywhere.
But
Like at the
at the same time, like, yeah, you're not wrong in any way. But at the same time, it's 2023. People kind of like that aspect of having that free
I
roam
would say
RPG.
yeah, it's something like I would say it's probably like not realistic to expect any game studio to do what Rockstar did. But like you know with like Red Dead 2, like how
Yes.
cinematic that game is. No matter where you went, like you could free roam wherever you want, but like it always felt cinematic. Especially with the cinematic camera. Like it always had that blockbuster feeling.
Indeed.
No matter where you went. Like I'd say now it's probably possible to do games like that, but that like you see the budget for that game was expensive to make.
Of
Like
course it was
very
expensive. And
expensive.
those type of games are expensive. Like Halo Infinite Warfare, I'm pretty sure that game was hella expensive to make. But at the same time, in 20, well, yeah, those games kind of have more graphically put into those games in a way, which is understandable. But at the same time, we're not like, if you look at other RPG games that aren't in that aspect, they're more downgraded with graphics. You know, it's not like the Xbox 360 days. We're on the Xbox Series X days. Even Xbox One days, they were kind of like more expensive. But on the 360 days, you know, you kind of get that aspect, as in you can make an RPG, make it less graphically, and not have to spend a lot more money on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. And
And
I mean bigger and bigger worlds like yeah, you could sacrifice cuz like to bring in the cost like you'd sacrifice graphics. But like if you want to keep that blockbuster quality and stuff like that, um like it does make the cost go way up because
of
like people have
course,
to go because like areas of the game like in a game on rails like where like you know where objective A objective B and it like pretty much linearly drives you to the objectives. um those type of games it's like they only have to really put focus onto the details where they know the players are going to be. And then if you're trying to make a game that's like I'm not against this, I'm just like making the argument to why like not as many games in that genre are doing it. Like they might do it more, but it does definitely make it more expensive by a long shot. Like they'd have to put more detail into more of the world. And yeah, there are a lot of
hello. What the hell just happened? You cracked out. What the fuck just happened? Your mic went out. Oh shit.
Can you hear me?
I can
Hello?
hear you now.
No, it's not. My mic's not out. But I'll in the okay. Um but yeah, like those they can rate it and stuff like that. But like when they generate it, like it can make it kind of samey across places. So like you have to like add variation because like
Mhm.
if it looks too much the same when they generate it, because that can keep the cost down. So basically, like, you have to find the balance to like the cost balance, like to make it not too expensive and not too labor and like not too expensive and keep the labor like kind of down, but also like enough labor put into it to like not make it feel the same in the generated areas. Because like the bigger open world games like take a lot of man hours
A lot
to
of
make.
man hours. A lot of
A
man
lot
hours.
more, a lot more than a Halo Reach or a Halo 4 would.
Well, of course, definitely. It
And I'm
would.
not graphics because I'm saying like if you imagine them with like modern graphics, like if you were like putting everything up to the scale of modern graphics, it's like that's like what GTA, like the GTA's of the world, like the Red Dead Redemptions, those are the most expensive games ever made.
Really.
Yes.
I do not doubt that. I do not doubt that at all. But at the same time, in those aspects, like, you know, what is it called? Like Halo 2 DST was an RPG in a way. It was an RPG. But there
Red Dead
was
Redemption is the most expensive game, by the way.
Red Dead Redemption, the first one.
The no two.
I do not doubt that at all.
And like the top three is Red Dead 2 at 540 million, Cyberpunk 2077 at 316 million, and Grand Theft Auto 5 at 265 million. And then
To
what it says, Modern Warfare 2 was 250 million, which is the
which mo-
fourth most.
which Modern Warfare 2?
I'm not sure. I'll open up this link. This just showed a list. I don't know if it'll. To scroll down, that's Red Dead 2. That's the is that the old one or the new one? That looks like the new one. So the oh no, this is the 2009.
Well,
So
damn.
Modern Warfare 2 2009, $250 million.
Well, damn. I would not expect Modern Warfare 2, the old one, to be that pricey.
It's
Cause
only it's only like 5 million cheaper than Grand Theft Auto 5.
yeah, you're not wrong, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting it to be that cheap. Like, because of how low the graphics are, because it's an Xbox 360 game, I would expect Modern Warfare 2, the new one, to be way more expensive than the older one.
Right. Graphics of then versus now, like right. So like it's more reasonable to expect the graphics to get better because the processing compute power becomes cheaper. So like it's cheaper to produce higher end graphics, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like 2009 that quality of graphics wasn't bad graphics, right? That was
No, it
some of the
wasn't.
there.
Yeah, it was.
And like the compute power was less. So there was less compute power. So the amount of time it probably took to compute those graphics is probably equivalent to how much time it takes to compute modern graphics today.
Most definitely. But at the same time, I don't know. It's kind of just like that's kind of surprising to me that Modern Warfare 2 2009 was so much more. It was so much. It had. They put so much more into that than any other Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To me like these newer Call of Duty should have been way more money put in than anything else. You know
Well,
what
they've streamlined it a lot, and I know what when Modern Warfare 2 was being made, there was a lot of like issues in development. Like the two main guys got fired, right? And then
something
what
like
they
that.
went, yeah, and they went and made like they made Sledgehammer. Or no, they didn't make Sledgehammer. They went and made the company that made Apex.
Yeah.
Not yeah, yeah. Was it Apex? No, it was not Apex. Was it Apex? They made. I know they made Titanfall, Apex Legends is in the Titanfall universe, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
they made the Titanfall game. So
Respawn are the people that did
yeah,
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 2, yes.
they were the guys that got fired from after
Mm-hmm.
Modern Warfare 2 was made.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think what happened during then is part of the reason why it was so expensive.
It could have been it. That could have been it too. Who knows? We really don't know what happened really there.
Because I mean, what Cyberpunk 2077 came out, right? It had so many more problems than Grand Theft Auto 5, right? And they had so many delays and shit. Like, I mean, yeah, it had ray tracing and shit, but the game was broken as all hell when it came.
Cyberpunk?
Yeah, when
Of
it came
course,
out,
yeah, it was.
it was broken to all hell, like so broken that they had to give refunds.
Which that's not always good.
And
To
they
have
basically completely off of the PS3 and the Xbox 360 for a minute.
well,
Or the Xbox One, not the 360.
what they really need to do is stop making games for the Xbox One and the PS4.
Are they
Cause
still making?
yes, they're still Modern Warfare 3 I think is coming out for the Xbox One and PS4.
Is it really?
Yes, I think so. If I go to Google real quick, is MW I put MW2. My bad. MW3 coming for out for Xbox One. Here we go. They have it right here. Yes. It's coming out for Xbox One. Mm-hmm. Will launch on the Xbox One as well as the Series X and Series S. So which means it's coming out for the PS4 and PS5.
Oh yeah, those look like. I mean, from this picture I see, from like a comparison between them, those look like low graphics.
Well, this is how I kind of look at it. See, if I didn't have a PC, I'll be kind of glad they're still coming out with the Xbox One shit because, like, I can just transfer it to Xbox One and call it a day. So I don't have to waste, SSD power or SSD shit. But now they have a PC. When I look back on it now, it's kind of like, just like, I have a PC, so I'm able to lower graphics even if I wanted to. So it's like, why are they still making shit for the consoles? I have no idea.
Probably because a lot of people are still on it. Like, I mean, what? I mean, I forget what was the last game that came out on the PS2. It was like well into the.
Huh?
What? Yeah, the PS2. The last game to release on the PS2 was Pro Evolution Soccer 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, damn. I didn't know they were still making. I didn't know even after then they were still making games for the PS2. God damn. Well. But see, even at that day and age, it was a lot different, though.
Not really though, because I mean the power difference between the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One, right, is a big difference. Like the difference between the Xbox One and the Series console is a big difference.
Yeah, most definitely. And from the PS2 and the PS3 is a big difference, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So, in that aspect, in like even for like Xbox 360,
but and that they were still making PS2 games completely through the entire lifespan of the PS3. Like they made PS2 games after the PS4 came out.
yeah.
So like the PS2 was still getting games like for 2 generations.
That is something, isn't it?
Yeah,
That is something, isn't it? That
that's
is.
that's a big thing. Because like the difference between the PS2 and the PS4 is a huge difference. Like the
Mm,
PS2 looks like shit compared to the PS3, right?
yeah,
So like
and definitely.
they made it all the way up until after the PS4 came out.
You know, that's something to look at because if you go from a game that came out in on the PS4 and it came out for PS2, it's gonna look a lot different. A lot
Mm,
different.
yeah.
It's gonna be like a totally different game, possibly. Like if you go look at 2K games, like I'm talking about NBA 2K, that came out for the Xbox One and the same game that came out for 360, it was like two different games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like style, how they presented the game, everything was like the only thing that was the same was the fucking box, the box that the game came in, or the case or whatever. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that was the same, except it said Xbox 360 and the top said Xbox One or Xbox or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like that's the only difference that came upon that. Everything else, when you go into the game, you had a different game menu for the Xbox 360, the Xbox One. You had a different everything. Everything was different.
See, I never had Ghost on the Xbox 360, right?
I did.
I had it on the Xbox One. And like I know from seeing it, it's like I mean I remember us talking about it back then. That's when we were first talking. It was like, oh yeah, the eight like they made the ground war bigger or some shit.
Yeah.
And it was like I was like, oh yeah, like I that's crazy. Like I was like amazed. I mean I know like it wasn't no Battlefield, but it was like, oh, I was
Oh
like that's
hell no.
awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
but even at the same time, like they did do something with it. You know what I'm saying? And when you look back on it, like Call of Ghosts from 360 slash PlayStation 3 to Xbox One to PS4, there really was no difference besides graphics to it. Possibly, yeah,
yeah.
there really
And then
was
what
no
even
difference.
that bad Ghost didn't look as bad what as
Black Ops 3
Advanced
did.
War.
Advanced War. See, Advanced Warfare. I didn't pay attention to the 360 model when Advanced
I
Warfare came
saw
out.
it like from video comparisons and stuff. It's like, oh my god, that looks like they. And then like hearing about like the development process because they sent like the 360 version to a third party, and like the biggest issue with it was how they compressed the
The
graphics.
graphics.
Like it could have been better than what it turned out if like because the 360 technically was capable to make it look a little better, but like
Well,
it looked.
when you look at the 360, like if you look at Black Ops 2 and you go
Mm,
look at like Black Ops 3 on the 360, Black Ops 2 looks better on the 360 than Black Ops 3 does on the
right.
360. And that's
Right.
because they probably compressed the graphics a lot more on Black Ops 3. They probably did a lot more shit differently on Black Ops 3 than they did on Black Ops 2, like one spending time on it.
Plus, they made the graphics for the Xbox One
Of
and the
course,
PS,
yeah. Of course they did,
and then
yeah.
they just half-assed it. Like they didn't even like the 360 was an afterthought. They only made it for the 360
Because of
because a
people.
lot of people were still playing on the 360, and that's what I think we're at today, right? They're only making games for the Xbox One because there's a lot of people still on the Xbox One.
Man, to be honest, I still see shit people talking about. Is it coming out for PS3? And people are like, bro, the PS3 is
And
or
like
Xbox
exactly
360.
like they made what Pro Evolution Soccer 2014 on the PS2. Like that was in the PS4 era, so they still the PS4 was out. So like if in that mindset, it's like yeah, like it's like if it was reasonable for them to do that, then it's reasonable for that question to be asked for the PS3 today. Because like shit,
But at the same time, like What is the graphics gonna even look like on those consoles on the PS2 if it's coming out for like the PS4 and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like the graphics gotta be
Like
put
dog shit.
like dog shit. Like,
Right. Like, because on the PS2, like, there was no question of cross-platform back then.
oh,
Like, people,
most definitely not.
and like in the world where everybody's asking for cross-platform, it's like it's not going to happen. And like, they're not the likelihood of them doing that for that is like
Shit, they
because
barely had online on the PS2. Like shit, like
they did. I didn't play online. I didn't even when I had it. I didn't even know it was capable of doing that shit. But like, it was capable of doing it. There was online gameplay.
yeah, but they probably didn't do it because like, what would be the point? Like, you know what I'm saying? What would be the point and all that? You know, that's kind of
Mhm.
like how I look at like what would really be the point and all that. You know, but at the
Right.
same time, like the original Xbox had online. I didn't play online on the original Xbox. I played online on the PS3 and 360. I never had a chance to play online on the original Xbox.
Yeah, I didn't play online. I mean, my cousins had the Xbox. I had a PS2. Um, but like I didn't play online back then.
PS3 was actually the first time I actually played online on a console. And the PS3 was free, so as in the
Yeah.
online aspect, it was free, so it was just like you didn't have to pay nothing. The only thing you had to pay for was games and, you know, skins and other shit. But other than that, you didn't have to pay for nothing. Like you had to pay that, like you got everything for basically free. Besides PlayStation Plus, which I didn't even do PlayStation Plus, but you know. But in that aspect, times has really changed, and you know, you would think people would put more time and energy in putting out shit for older consoles, but you know, like it's kind of like when you look at like what's the point? Like how much money are you really gonna get out of putting shit out for a PlayStation 2 or a
Right, and
PS3?
that's why Call of Duty they sent it out to a third party. They only made it for that console because there was a big enough demand for it. And but like they needed to focus on like you can't spread a team out that thin. And like it definitely spreads a team out very thin to do that. So like it becomes less worth it when you have to spread a team out. So that's why they went and got a third party to like do the copies over, and they basically gave them the Xbox One, the PS4 version, and like they said, here you go, now make it for the previous gen. And it was like,
Well,
yeah, but
even when you look at it, it's kind of like, damn, man, like PS2 was around even the Xbox like One and PS4 days, and they were still making shit for that. I'm like, what the fuck? Holy shit!
I mean,
That's
it was what like right after they came out, they stopped making it, but like definitely like it just means like pretty much it's not out of question for them to do the same thing like for the
but
Xbox.
I wonder how much demand was it really to make a PS2 game at that time of.
I know like some third world countries that had like electricity and shit, like they didn't have PS3s or they didn't even, like that's all they just had like PS2s and stuff. That's all they could afford. So like and what for instance like soccer and stuff because I know like after it came out like that's most of the games that were selling for it were like sports games. So like they most of the games that came out like long after it was already dead was sports games.
Uh huh. Shit. Like that's kind of crazy to me if you really think about it. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
That like shit still was coming out for the PS2 and probably was looking like dog shit, but like, you know, it's kind of like, damn, man, like y'all really like this PlayStation 2 shit, like
Like
damn.
they weren't really asking for better graphics. They were asking for the roster updates.
Prop basically, yeah, like they were asking for
Like
the.
that's the big thing with the sports games because like I mean when you see the sports games come out on the same generation, like they don't typically look and like unless they like change it up a lot, they don't have room to really make it look that much. Like if they get all out of their console out of one game, right? They make it as good as they're gonna get it. Like the only thing they can do to make it look different is like change up the menus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like so the game's not gonna look better. So basically every single game that comes out after that is just a roster update. In any sports game that lets you make characters, like you can basically fill the roster up with your homemade characters. Like you don't but like the official roster update because they get the stats from like the real world and shit. Like that covers it. Like
That's kind of crazy.
it doesn't need to make the game look better. They just update the roster.
You know, we've been talking for like 2 hours, almost 2 hours and
Yeah,
34 minutes.
the show's probably reaching its end. I've been trying to like figure out how to close it out, but
I was like, oh my god, we've been going for 2 hours and 34 minutes. Holy shit, we're almost at 3 hours. I was not
yeah,
expecting that. Like at four
I was
o'clock.
thinking trying to figure out a way like around like the hour 30 mark, and I was
Yeah, and
like,
then we went longer than that. I was like, well,
eh,
shit. We might
well,
as well go
I'd
longer,
say good
but,
end then. Now
huh?
that I'd say this is a good end now that we're bringing it up.
I would say so. This is a good end. But
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to say after we close this out?
Um. Not too much. Hopefully, I'll give some more updates with how I'm doing later down the line. Um.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no pushy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just asked
Right.
just to ask. Like, no
I mean,
pushiness.
my game project's kind of on pause with like everything because like what our third person on the game project kind of went. Well, him and Trent got into an argument, kind of
Who?
like third person. It doesn't really matter who he is. Don't need to bring names into it because you don't know him. But yeah, there was a thing that happened. Him and Trent, like Trent said something that got on his nerve. I warned Trent he was kind of like not 100% mentally stable, but like
Pushy?
yeah, Trent just said something that like made him like go out. He's like, oh, I don't want to work on this anymore. I was like, okay, cool. And then like it kind of took a pause after that because there was no movement on it. That and like I was getting busy with school and shit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
alrighty,
I mean,
Playboy.
it's been a month. It's been a month, like since, but like I know Monday Trent said he'll start working back on it, doing the thing because he was pretty much taking the load off of Trent on the project. So like Trent was like doing the art shit, and he was coming in to do art and shit with it too to help
Mm-hmm.
him out. So like he was pretty much given a load off of Trent. So he's gonna come in Monday and work on some of the art, work on the healing tower. That was the goal for the October to get that part done, but
But that
pretty much
didn't happen.
yeah, October turned into nothing.
Alrighty, Playboy. Well, that's it, everybody. When this comes out is when this comes out. I really don't have a date of when I want to put this out or whatever, or who is editing. Maybe Itchy will be editing, or maybe I'll be editing. I don't know. But anyway, who gives a
If
fuck about?
it's not done by what next week, then let me know. I might hop on it.
Okay, alrighty. But see y'all later. Peace out, Girl Scout.